They changed. I mean, they were some of the first adapters. Now, people say, well, they didn't win a World Series. You can't. They had no money. They were getting to the playoffs. It's like they just didn't have any money. The A's still don't have any money. But Michael Lewis in 15 minutes. That's Joy Taylor, Steve Smith, Brandon Marshall. Boy, they were honest today.
They were.
Yeah. I was going to ask Steve Smith about Earl Thomas. I thought I'd stay out of that space.
You probably should.
Yeah, I probably should. I am now going to predict. Let me make sure I got this right so I don't screw it up. I think I threw something away, guys. I can't find it. Oh, there we go. There we go. So season ends, and a bunch of coaches get fired and hired, like Washington, right? And then you have your free agent, period, and then you have your draft. And then you also have your schedule release, and then you have camp, and some guys get hurt. And so I could sit and never, make no prediction until right before the season. But I do believe once I get the coaches in, once I get the free agency in, and once I get the draft in, you can kind of predict what's going to happen. I think the variations off the standings will be small. I do think somebody tonight, so I'm going to give you my AFC and my NFC standing predictions pre-schedule release. And my gut feeling is I'll make some moves. Not drastic, but some. So you want to go AFC first? All right. So AFC East, Bills, Jets tie at 9-7, but Bills beat the Jets twice and win the division. Dolphins third at 7-9, Patriots 7-9. Patriots have no weapons. Quarterback never taken a meaningful snap, no weapons. They lost their two best linebackers, their kicker. They haven't replaced them. Rookie tight ends. Tight ends tend to take a while in the NFL. So Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Patriots. AFC North, Ravens win 10-6. Browns second 9-7. I've moved the Steelers down to 7-9. Bengals 5-11. I guess the story here would be I have Cleveland over Pittsburgh. I think they have better components. I don't trust Big Ben's offseason workout regimen, as Jay Glazer pointed out yesterday. And I'll probably look at the schedule tonight. The Steelers are one of those teams I could move up to 8-8, 9-7 based on the schedule. And Bengals, they're 5-11. AFC South, I think the Colts reclaim it with Phillip Rivers. I think for a year he works. Titans pull back. I think the Ryan Tannehill stuff all worked perfectly. It won't this year. Titans, too noisy, too many missteps in the front office. Pull back at 7-9. Jags, a couple of wins, but they're tanking, 2-14. AFC West, I think, is very competitive. Chiefs to win, Broncos second, Chargers and Raiders. I love the Chargers roster. But this is a quarterback coach league. And Anthony Lynn and Tyrod Taylor in a division that's got Mahomes and Andy Reid, I think they're outgunned. And I got to tell you something. I thought Vic Fangio did a really good job in the second half of the season last year. I thought Denver really came alive, and I love Denver's offseason. Chargers rounded out 5-11. I'll watch their schedule and see. I think the division's too tough for them. I don't think they're good enough defensively to compete. Well, the Raiders 5-11. So my AFC playoff picture, Bills win the East, Ravens win the North, Colts win the South, Chiefs win the West, and then the wild card teams are Denver, Cleveland, and the Jets. In the NFC, Eagles win the division, 2 games over the Dallas Cowboys at 8-8. Giants 6-10. Redskins 5-11. Redskins defense is interesting, but I don't have any idea what they're going to look like at quarterback. New coach, new coordinators, new staff, no OTAs, virus year. I don't know. NFC North, I think Minnesota had a better roster overall than Green Bay last year, and I think they had a much, much more influential draft. I think Minnesota had one of the better drafts than the Packers did. Bears 8-8. Quarterback situation, who knows? I don't buy Matt Patricia 5-11. NFC South, I think the Saints getting Malcolm Jenkins and Emmanuel Sanders was really smart. Veteran smart players who come in fit very easily. I think Tom Brady gets Tampa after a rocky September to 9-7. I do not think Carolina's in a rebuilding mode. I think Carolina's going to score a bunch of points with Teddy Bridgewater, who's a very good distributor. And I think they drafted all defense. I don't think they're in a total rebuild mode. I think Carolina's going to be okay. Atlanta, I don't know how I feel. I'll watch the schedule. They feel 500 to me. I have them at 7-9. NFC West, Seattle 12-4 is pretty ambitious, but I think Seattle and 49ers are the class of the division. I think Seattle last year was on fire. They beat San Francisco, then they fell apart in the backfield, or they think they would have ended up in the NFC Championship, and quite frankly, I think they could have ended up in the Super Bowl. I undervalued them last year. I'm not doing it again. Rams 8-8, don't have any depth and a bunch of new coaches. Cardinals 6-10. There'll be a fun 6-10. We'll see how Isaiah Simmons works. I love watching Kyler Murray. So in the NFC, I have the Eagles winning the East, the Vikings the North, the Saints the South, the Seahawks winning the West, and my wild card teams, 49ers are going to be a heck of a wild card team, Tampa Bay and Green Bay. And there you go. And I have the right to change my mind. Right to change my mind. I did see this, speaking of baseball. Baseball came out with a proposal to start the season July 1st. The headline says best case scenario, which that's the best case scenario? Like you could start it August 1st? It's incredibly confusing because according to this, baseball wants to play teams in their home stadiums, not like Florida and Arizona. So the best case scenario is July. So let's say you go to August 1st. You're going to be playing baseball outdoors in Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati and St. Louis in November and December and January. Now, I've said this for years. Baseball's confusing to me. There's the unwritten rules part, and nobody agrees on them. The American League has the DH. The National League doesn't. I cannot believe that the NBA Eastern Conference and Western Conference would play by separate rules. If you stare at a home run long enough, they throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball at your chin. There's a way to play the game, even though nobody's quite sure exactly what that way to play the game is. And I think 162 games in 2020 is ridiculous. They did get rid of the September call-ups, which I always thought was the strangest thing in the world, that you could win Rookie of the Year and it wouldn't actually be your rookie year. They finally just came to terms and said that's ridiculous. I think this story, what's fascinating about baseball is it's not a sport, because of strong union representation, it is not a sport that historically has been great with change. And they're going to have to make sudden and swift moves, and I don't think it plays into baseball's strength. I'm very confused by this. So they want to play in all these cities, but they're starting in 8 weeks. The best case scenario is July 1st. I don't know how many games you can play. I mean, you want to be done, right? July, September. You want to get playoffs by October. It gets cold in America. It starts raining. I don't understand that. I don't know how you play baseball in all the cities and start July 1st, and you'd have to play like 60 games, 75 games. So it's confusing. I'm fascinated to watch how baseball transitions through this. Football has always been so good at evolving and adapting quickly. And I don't know why that is, but the sensibility, the DNA of the NFL has always been change. I said a couple of years ago, they changed the rule during the Super Bowl. Just what they do. It's just what they do. Baseball does not. It's got its history and its lore and its strong unions. So the latest proposal confuses me. They want to play in all the cities. Do you want to play in New York? I don't know. We'll wait and see. I work for Fox. We have baseball. I hope we get it. Michael Lewis, a noted author, Moneyball, Blindside, Big Short. Great book, great movie. Coming up next. Have you seen the interest rates on savings accounts at typical banks? Not a lot to be excited about. A lot of their rates start with 0. Check out Marcus by Goldman Sachs. They have a high-yield online savings account. Actually grows your money. Get this. You could earn more interest in 1 month with Marcus than in 1 year with the largest banks. Go to Marcus.com. They've got an online calculator. Let you instantly compare rates from some of the largest banks. See how much you could earn with Marcus immediately. High-yield online savings account. No minimum balance. Nope, no minimum balance, no fees at all. Open an account online in minutes. And they're backed by the financial expertise of Goldman Sachs. So go to Marcus.com today. High yield online savings account. Marcus.com. Comparison made to the 3 largest U.S. banks measured by total deposits. Rates at